Morning, everybody. So I do a quick video this morning. It's taking me a few minutes to get clear. something blew through this part of the country, and I am suffering. My eyes are all watery, and it's terrible. Whole new set of allergies out here in South Texas. Maybe worse than the ones I had in West Texas. I was in West Texas twice a year, spring, fall. Boom, I was done. The rest of the year, no problem. No problem here. Golly. Keep getting these allergic blow-ups. Sorry, excuse me. No, it's terrible. Terrible. That's terrible. So, 9 out of 10 people surveyed. That's the hook, right? That's been the hook for a long time. I don't remember when did I find out about the focus groups? Focus groups. Everything you see, everything you buy, every advertisement, everything you're seeing has been put through some kind of focus group. It wouldn't be out there if it didn't test well, if it wasn't something people responded to, because that's their thing. That's their gig, is clicks, right? Views. And ain't it funny how over my lifetime it went from priority driven, I guess you'd say, it news, human life and suffering, to local that affects you, to now it's all focus group. What will they listen to? What will they watch? What will get them to turn on the television? What will it take? That's all they want to know. What words? Like with our great commander-in-chief, the Build Back Better. When I heard that, I thought, oh man, the less focus groups are they're dropping the ball on you, Joe. They're dropping the ball on you, buddy. It's not fair, man. I look at Joe like when my granddad lived with us, he was still kind of, functional on his own. He could drive early when he first started living with us. At the end of his life, he could drive there for a little bit, and I would let him. I'd let him drive my truck to go down to the local nursing home to see his girlfriend. Yeah. Pee Wee was a hound, and and he was Joe's age, and I wouldn't let him run the country. I loved him. I thought he was great, but he ain't no way in hell I'm gonna let him run the country. I'll let him drive down to 7-Eleven. I'll let him go down and see his girlfriend, but he's not gonna run the country. He's a great guy. It's not happening. Why did they do this to Joe? Oh man! Every time I see him and somebody asks him a question, he reminds me of my granddad at the end of his life, where he just is so frustrated. He was frustrated. He couldn't put them all together. He's getting there. Hang on. My dad is younger than Joe, and he's suffering right now. Well, for the rest of his life, however long he lives, he's suffering with Brody body dementia, and it's not a pretty sight. I warned my family a year and a half, 2 years ago. Something's wrong. And I need to get him tested. We got to get him to a doctor. We got to see what's going on. He's got a problem. Finally got him there. Yeah, got this going on. And I told my brother and everybody, it's going to go quick. It's going to go quick. It's going to change quick. And you're not going to know what the fuck happened. And they're like, man, it'll be okay. We're going to watch him. He's doing okay. He's not doing too bad. And the last year, we've had to take his keys. Him and my brother are having falling outs every week. It's just a mess down there. And so he wakes up feeling pretty good and wants to go drive. And he doesn't need to drive, but he still does. And my brother's the one there's going to have to deal with it when he gets that phone call. Yeah, we have your father here. Yeah, he was driving and had a wreck. Yeah, here we go. But 9 out of 10 surveyed say, do you fall for it? If you see something, they're claiming it, and they say, hey, 9 out of 10 surveyed prefer this. Does that work for you? Does that put you over the top? Does that tell you, okay, this is the one for me? Or do you go for the one that hadn't had a survey done on it, hadn't had a focus group done, didn't get to experiment with all the different tastes and flavors and what works, what don't work, type of stuff. Man, I'm snotty. I hate this. I'll be fine here in an hour, so it'll clear up, and I'll be fine the whole day. But our whole life has been structured. My whole life since I was born, the outside world, my whole life that I see, that I walk into every day, has been programmed and structured for optimum stimulation to sell me something. My whole life, sell me something. It may be socks, it may be food, it may be drink, it may be something, but they're always selling. And without the 9 out of 10 surveyed, where would we be? Where would we be if 9 out of 10 surveyed never happened? I'm serious. Think about that kind of stuff. Where would we be if 9 out of 10 surveyed never happened? Never happened. I think I had a few videos I was gonna
Eufy Security Wireless
Man, my computer lately has been just weird. I did, I know they're watching me. I know they've got a line on my on all the things I watch, but they can't do this to me. I got on a binge lately watching clips, because I never watched the show. I'm watching clips of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I knew kind of what it was about, but I never, because it was on HBO, I never watched it. But it is funny. It's got some funny shit. It was crazy. Did y'all see the new spin? Y'all gotta see this one. The new spin they're putting out there on the Challenger. I had never seen this. Let me share this. I saw this yesterday. Now, everybody has said that, the people had survived the Challenger explosion, and that it was all good, and it was a hoax or whatever. Well, I'd never seen this before. Watch this mess.
For the launch, Beaujolais repeated his warning.
But with the previous shuttle having just set a record for delays, NASA's leaders were impatient. Beaujolais' bosses told NASA the O-ring evidence in the memo was inconclusive. Challenger's launch was ordered. A puff of black smoke at liftoff was the ominous sign that Beaujolais was right. The O-rings had already failed. The smoke appeared when they burned. After a few seconds, a jet of flame appeared. A post-accident report by NASA described it with passionless precision.
The plume is seen here impinging directly onto the surface of the external tank and the lower aft strut at 60.248 seconds.
The sideways flame burned like a welder's torch through the gap left by the blown O-ring. It pierced the giant orange fuel tank, and fuel began streaming out. Still, no one knew anything was wrong. Not until Challenger, its astronauts, and its teacher in space had flown for 73 seconds.
At 73.19
And its teacher in space. Did you hear that?
seconds, a flash was observed between the ET and orbiter that was immediately followed by the start of total vehicle breakup at 73.213 seconds. During the next 100 milliseconds, additional flashes occur in the SRB forward attach area. As the ET broke up, the released fluids vaporized rapidly, producing an expanding cloud of gases, vapors, and cryogenic fluid with embedded debris and localized combustion of mixed gases. No shock wave or other evidence of a...
What's crazy here, and they show it, I just like to spoiler alert, they say this right here is the, if you can see my pointer up there, they say, I believe that this right here is the fuselage of the shuttle, that it gets free.
Shock wave or other evidence of a violent explosion was detected in the imagery. Illumination from a combination of SRB plume radiance, reflected sunlight, and peripheral burning of gases gives the cloud the appearance of a fireball. By 73.6 seconds, the main engines were in automatic shutdown mode as a result of reduced propellant pressures. The last telemetry from Challenger was received 73.618 seconds after launch. The actual vehicle breakup was essentially obscured from view by the vapor cloud, which abruptly enveloped the vehicle. Hundreds of fragments were noted exiting the ET cloud. Those identified included the shuttle main engines, the left wing, crew cabin, and both SRBs.
What was happening to the crew at this moment? They were still alive.
Challenge is fast. Launch is fast. It's bang, and then it's a 2-minute ride down. And you're conscious, we know that.
Astronaut Story Musgrave told me the crew survived in that white cloud. It was Challenger's fuel tank that exploded. The shuttle itself just broke apart. The crew compartment with its 7 living occupants was intact.
The initial path of the crew cabin from the vapor cloud carried it across the path of an adjacent contrail, clearly revealing its truncated form and attitude. The left wing became visible at 78.531 seconds. The main engines and crew cabin are also identifiable.
It took 2 minutes and 45 seconds for the crew cabin to hit the water. The impact speed was 207 miles an hour. A NASA statement released after the accident reads, "The forces to which the crew were exposed during orbiter breakup were probably not sufficient to cause death or serious injury."
Where is that? Probably not. That explosion was not sufficient to cause death or serious injury.
And later, NASA is unable to determine positively the cause of death of the Challenger astronauts, but has established...
Think about that. They cannot positively determine the cause of death. Wow.
that it is possible but not certain that the loss of consciousness did occur in the seconds following the orbiter breakup. Musgrave, who is a medical doctor and surgeon, is quite certain.
Who died when you hit the water? You know that.
You think
You know
so?
that.
That's always been controversial.
I don't. No, sir. There's nothing controversial about that. No. It's hard evidence.
Nothing controversial about that. There's hard evidence, he says, that they died. They died with, hey Ash, I forgot to put the link in the chat. Here we go. Let me put the link in the chat. But they died from the impact, this guy says, on the water, not the explosion. So they're even changing their story more. Changing it even more. This is crazy. But our whole life is pretty much just a focus group. A focus group basically has molded and steered our society since I've been alive. You know, since our inception here on this earth. Oh, have y'all ever seen this? Yeah, I know it's weird. I was running across some silly stuff,
Taco Bell.
and I remember a long time ago I'd heard something about this, but I hadn't heard anything in a while. So now this here, let's go back a little bit and show you what this is. This is all about the government cheese program. Government cheese. And back in the day, there's these huge caves and these huge underground facilities that our government maintains our cheese in.
6 degrees, in fact, due to an elaborate system of pumps running a steady stream of coolants from above ground. Within the cave are thousands of red, orange, and yellow barrels lining the floor, each one weighing 680 pounds and filled to the brim with dairy products. These limestone caves in Springfield, Missouri, are home to the United States' largest stockpile of its 1.4 billion pound surplus of cheese. But the path that led to how the cheese caves came to be can be.
So now is our deal going to be let them have cheese instead of cake? Let them have cheese. But the story back in the 70s, with the dairy farmers and all that, the government sets up this program, to help the dairy farmer. You got to help them out, come in and toss in some money. And from there on, the dairy lobby started. There's Ashley. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, my little friend. How you doing?
Good. Are you staying comfy there in Tennessee?
Well, it's a little chilly this morning. That's what I just did. I just got a bit closer to dress. Yeah, and we got. Yeah, well, I'm a sissy now. Remember that.
Oh, you're a lot of things, but a sissy, I don't think, is one of them.
Man, when it comes to the cold, boy, I got it.
Oh man, it's 78 here.
Yeah, it's probably about there here. It's just because I'm getting used all the pretty, lovely weather that we've been having. That I'm just like, no. Oh, I'm still recording. My bad. Hold on. I gotta fix stuff here. Oh, dude, we live in a flipping circus. You know what I mean? Like, we live in a circus, and every day people are fed, through the television and the music. We're fed. We are fed all of these lies. Wrong counsel. Wrong. We're supposed to have good counsel.
Like I said, my whole life was my reality around me was formed by focus groups, by surveys. What I saw had gone. Everything we've seen in our life since we were born, pretty much, has been surveyed first. It's been focus grouped. It's been studied and went, okay, this is the best thing to put out there. This is what they'll want. This is what they'll eat, drink. This is what they'll drive. It doesn't matter. Everything has been put through a process to make sure it's optimal for my senses, to catch my attention, to lure me in. And when that hits you, and you think, no way, yes, every single thing you ever seen in your life has been studied to influence you, to make you make a decision for them.
That includes the billboards. That includes when you walk into the grocery store and what your eyes lay on right away. All the magazines, that everything surrounding you. And who built it? Who put that there? The government. The government's around, and that's really what I'm just focused more on. What is it?
The elites put it together with the governments. They cobble it together with the governments in hand, kind of deal. This is the way I prefer to say.
They are the runner of it. I basically say the elites are Satan and the governments are the little minions. I mean, boom. Because
for sure. For sure.
Right. It's a hot mess. And what are we not to do? We're not to have a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And we look around us and we see all this stuff, but we got to think of Nebuchadnezzar, or we got to think of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And in the book of Maccabees, Jason's been looking in the book of Maccabees. He's finding a correlation between Maccabees and Ezekiel. He thinks Ezekiel was written in the wrong time. They're saying that it was written 500 years before Christ. And he's finding, boom, like chapter after chapter matching the first book of Maccabees, so forth. But even in the Maccabees, they came up against the government. And Daniel came up against the government. Because what were they doing? They were giving them wrong counsel, and they were leading them away from the Lord God Almighty, our holy Creator, and His ways. And the Word of God over and over and over tells us, do not turn to their ways, no matter what they threaten you with.
No matter what the survey says.
No matter what the survey said.
No matter what the focus group says is best for you. Yeah. That's why I've always said, I want to know what that 10th dentist says. Why did that 10th dentist say, wait a minute, fluoride's bad? What did he say? I want to talk to him. Y'all tell me 9 out of 10 dentists say, I want to hear number 10. What's he talking about? What's up, guys? Your other 9 are on your team. Who's number 10? Who's he? I want to talk to that dude.
Right.
What are you saying here, dentist? Why isn't this toothpaste any good? Tell me. Well, dude, hey, man, it's full of neurotoxins. This shit's going to kill you. Don't do it. Don't do it. There's alternatives, better alternatives. But, you don't get to hear from number 10.
You don't.
Never.
Dude. No, you don't. You don't. And even in this World Economic Forum, they got 5 people on the platform, and all 4 of them are like totally for like the New World Order, the digital currency, all this. And then you got 1 out of all 5. You got 1. And he's always the one. He's the one that's going to speak the way the people want it, what the people want to hear, all the concerns and stuff and he's just a plant. He's just a plant, Oh, but dude, going to the teeth, my friend Willow, she ordered myrrh resin. And she stuck a piece of myrrh resin in apple cider vinegar, and she's been brushing her teeth with it. And supposedly in this old, I actually read the book. So she's got this little old book that tells you about herbs and stuff. And that myrrh resin helps with gingivitis. Dentists back in the day used to tell you to use this. I've been using it. It's flipping amazing. It cleans your teeth like it ain't nothing.
Right. Well, you and I know that there's a natural alternative to everything they offer.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the flip side. There's always the natural, and it's always better, safer, everything. It's superior in every way. And yet they come to us with our survey. Our survey said that this one's better. And what are we supposed to do? Wow, they surveyed people. They asked them, and those people said that's better. Who am I?
Right.
Why wouldn't I trust my fellow man? They were surveyed.
Right. Well, the Word of God tells us to trust no man, but we seem to be trusting every man.
Every survey we trust, right?
Right.
Oh, I thought I had a dog coming. On dog what?
So don't
Yeah,
work the
I
rest of
just had
the
one getting up. But yeah, think about your life has been dictated by
day.
surveys.
Mm-hmm.
By surveys. The clothes that are hanging on the racks, the freaking chocolate milk in the store, it just doesn't matter. It's all been put through the process of influence. Will it influence you? Will it get you to spend money? It's
Mm-hmm.
all about the money's process. Make money, more money, more money, more money, more money.
Mm-hmm.
No corporation ever, and this is what I always thought was funny, has ever gone, we want to get to here and level out. And right here's our sweet spot. And as long as we can do A and B, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We don't need to get bigger. I don't need to open more stores. I don't need to do any of that. I just want to get right here, stay right there. No, the model's always stock price go up, always drive the price up, always drive the price up. Go, 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 go,
Dude,
more and more.
we've been watching Little House on the Prairie. We're like Little House on the Prairie binging right now, okay? And what we're
Decoding.
noticing,
Are you decoding it?
yeah,
It's got a
yeah.
lot in it.
Oh, dude, it's so, oh my goodness, like it's so right on point with like morality and stuff, but then you got these instances in every one of them, every episode where it talks that really pushing the indoctrination of schools. I mean, like it is heavy, the indoctrination of man's teaching,
Hammer.
right. But then you got Charles, who is the dad, who has a great home, wonderful farm. Now he's running the mill. Like he's got money coming in, taken care of, and he's always wanting more. He's
Yeah.
always wanting more. And
Yeah.
it's like he's got everything he needs. He doesn't need anything else. He's completely sustained, and yet he wants more money. And
If
it's
you'll
it.
notice, on that note, sorry to interrupt, but on that note, I know exactly what you're saying on that, because I noticed in those that the wife seems to almost every time go the humble route. Charles, we really don't. Do we really need that? And he's always, like you said, he's the patriarch. He's all, you wanted that forever. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna
Yes.
do it.
Well, you're right. You're right. She does. And that is thank you for pointing that out, because it does. It moves in the woman's more understanding, woman's more logical. She's the spiritual leader because she's always on her game. She always knows that it's best for us to do this. And yes, the woman is lovely and helps her husband in so many ways, but in today's age, as we were talking about the Little House on the Prairie, that's an old show. And even in that show, they used a whole lot of truth and a whole lot of lies, and like they 50-50, man, and put it
Yeah.
together. And it's like,
Intertwined.
right. And I mean, and it moved people to why we live the way we live today, and it's just one show. That's just one show,
Right.
but that's the one that is one of the most wholesome shows, considered the most wholesome. And you can
But
break that stuff down.
the thing about it, I think the biggest thing is, and we don't know the truth, is it a true depiction? Is it an honest depiction of that time? Was that the thing all the way across the board? Was that America?
Yeah.
Or is this
Yeah.
a little bit of a spin you're putting on things for us?
Yeah, when we
I don't know.
watch the westerns and stuff, we'll watch the westerns, and even Little House on the Prairie. They always got their doctor,
Oh,
and it's like, man, back in the day, them ninjas knew about plants. They knew about the bark and the trees and the grass and what it was that you could eat and what it was that you could use to heal your ailment. And now it's straight to the doctor. And you're right, did they truly
construct.
live? Huh?
That was a construct they built in, was the doctor in every community. You got to have one.
You
You
gotta
have
have
to.
one. Right, right. What? You don't have a doctor? Jesus is my doctor. Jesus is my physician. Angel
Every
Hospital.
episode of every one of those shows had their episode where a town got its doctor, got its new doctor, We got a
Mhm.
doctor. Thank
Oh, and we
you.
got viruses.
And
Viruses.
he was treated like a king, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Woo, we got a new doc in town. But the social construct of all those things, they hit on every topic. They hit on racism, homosexuality. They hit on all these things even then, doing that social construct of building that tolerance. Oh, you know, they even had that problem then. And see how tolerant they were. See how they did. Ooh, bad people. Ooh, good people. The contrast. They always put those contrasts in there really big.
Mhm.
You know, the
Mhm.
bad person was really, that was awful. Why would they do that? You know, and the moral, you know, the moral story of it all is, whoa, hey, you know, we're a community. Don't do that to us.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the surveys, baby, surveys. That do rag you're wearing. There was a survey done. Somebody did a survey and said this pattern is going to sell.
Uh-huh.
Let's sell this. They don't just randomly do that shit.
Yeah. I've got a book called it's Jason brought a book in. It's called The Four Arguments for the Elimination of Television. You ever heard of it?
No,
Oh my goodness. It is a very, very in-depth book of the understanding of, say, like he explains in there how, you know, his son comes to him when he was little and says, Daddy, did man who made that mountain? Talking about a real mountain, a mountain that's huge and made out of rock and stone. He said, what man made that mountain? And the guy that wrote the book, he's thinking to himself, he's like, why would he think that a man made that? Well, they lived in the city. So everything this young man was seeing every day when he woke up was man-made structures all around him in the city. And because television has made it, you know, where you live, this is what man made. Then boom, you got man-made stuff. But Jason pointed one out. He said he had a buddy that there was a construction work going on next door, big boulders and stuff down the road from his house, and so a cup of water was sitting there, and you could see the frequency from it, and it doing its little things, the ring. And he said, his buddy Egbert goes, it sounds like a Tyrannosaurus Rex coming through here. And Jason says, really? You've actually been around a Tyrannosaurus Rex?
you know what
And
that was
he's
about?
like, oh, nice toss, bro, nice toss. But right, the things that we've never experienced some of this stuff, but we say it's like that. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
because of television, because television makes us feel as though we've experienced it. We've been in there with them, done this.
right. I told Alan yesterday I was watching some of the old documentaries the government put out about like the redwoods, foresting the redwoods, lead mining, things like that. And watching those and slowing it down and stopping and looking at stuff, I'm not sure that those aren't Hollywood productions. I'm not sure. Just watching those trees fall, and they have cameras set up in a couple of different angles to, showing these trees fall, and it's just not right. It just none of it looks right. It just looks too produced. And you look at those things. You look at I looked at that one about the lead mines, and some of the pictures of these mines. Of course, it's the barely head high, mine shaft. You're in the little stubby cars. You're going down through the mine, and then there's places that it's freaking cathedral, man. It's just a huge thing with these huge salt pillars in it and stuff, and it's like, how did they do this when this is what they want? That's all they want is this, tunnel to work in. Just keep digging and hauling out, digging and hauling out. And then there's these huge rooms. What? No explanation. Just here it is, boom, and it's gone. Wait a minute. Go back to that picture. What is this thing? Because y'all are saying this is your mine, but it doesn't look like any of the other parts of the mine. It looks ridiculous. It's just too precision when they show guys going with picks and shovels,
Yes.
and drills, and they're just exploding things. and hauling it out. Wait a minute. These are perfect square openings, and you didn't have the boring machines. You didn't have any of that. Wait a minute. Wait. It's hard to buy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really hard to
Yeah, we
buy.
watched the first airplane that supposedly took off. I don't know those guys' name. I've never researched any of that, but we watched the video on it. A guy was breaking it down, and he was showing that it didn't happen. He's like, it's showing how people are around. They're filming this airplane. It's supposed to be the very first airplane to go up in the air, and nobody's looking up in the air as it's flying off. Nobody's looking. They're all
Just
here looking
normal.
straight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there was a few things in that video, but that was the one that was very like telltale. Like, dude, right. This is the first airplane. Everybody would be watching that thing like a bee on a line.
Yep. Yep. It's all been a bill of goods. I heard on TV not to trust the internet. Well, I heard on the internet don't trust TV. Alan. So what is it? What is it? What do you do? The dark web has got us.
I think that's a big reason for all the bots. Internet, gaslight society, and create fake graphic to give politicians reason mandate to do their stuff. Interesting, right? Because right now that's a big thing. That's a real big thing in the tech world right now is the bot. They're trying to come against the bot.
That's all it has ever been, is a narrative to influence you. So whatever it is, their narrative, their products, whatever.
I'm interested in the narrative. I'm interested in the wiles of the devil. I'm interested in the breakdown of the mind, how it influences the mind so well, and what is it about these things that intrigue ones? Why would there are many things that they could say is wrong with the internet, and right now they're going after the bots. So what is it on the people? That's my thought process. What is it on the people's minds that would attract them to wanting to win this fight against the bots that are coming against us and freedom of speech? You see what I'm saying? Like it's about
that takes spirituality and faith. Yeah, that just takes spirituality and faith to get there. They're not going to get there otherwise. They're going to succumb to the survey. They're going to trust their surveys, and they're going to go down that road. They're, unless they have God, they're a survey. That's what their life is dictated by. And Alan, what do you mean? What about the radio? That's all advertisement. It started on the radio.
It started with the radios, yes. I mean
they had their Chesterfield, their cigarette commercials. 9 out of 10 doctors say Chesterfields taste best.
My thought process on it is like when radios, it wasn't television, it was radios that came in first. And I think about before radios came in, I think about homes, possibly reading the Bible before they sat down to eat, maybe talking to their animals about Jesus, singing praise songs, talking to the Lord God Almighty. And then all of a sudden the world, here comes a radio, and there's a old story that's coming on, and it's coming from, but in that story is a Kabbalist Freemason, spell. He's putting it upon the minds because what your ears hear.
I look at radio as it was the first assault to soften us up, get that frequency in us, get us used to that frequency. Okay, now we're used to that frequency. Now we throw in the visual. We throw in the visual with that frequency, and boom, we multiply. We multiply our influence with that. So it's all been a step program to where now they're not even hiding it anymore. They're not even hiding it. This whole kabuki theater thing with this January 6th deal, and they're doing it in prime time. Do you think one single one of those congressmen or senators went, I don't mind coming in and doing this whole thing during prime time? Sounds good. I'll be here every night. Make sure the world sees, how virtuous we are. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do this on TV. Think of all the things in the last 20 years
Mhm.
that they televise
Mhm.
of Congress. It's all been their agenda deal. It's all been their side of it going, we got a bad guy. Look at us. We're so good. Look what we do. Think of the millions of dollars they're wasting doing this whole thing.
Mhm.
You know, they hired up what, 10, 15 outside lawyers to come in and help them with this thing. All their buddies just handing them checks going, hey man, you'll make a couple of mil over in a year or two. We're going to set up a committee. Hell yeah, I want on a committee. Yes, I want on a task force. Yes, I want on that. Man, they milk us so bad with that stuff.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And they know we're tribal. They know that we're tribal beings, and that and they know very well that power of suggestion is very persuasive and to us, and that's all they have to do. They have to just like the putting the plant in, 5 people, 1 in the middle. The perfect computer wife movie.
Yeah. The the
And them
propaganda
tweens that be sneaking up on you.
But the propaganda now is just so, I mean, it's just blanket
Yeah.
now. I mean, you can't even, a car commercial, half of it's lies, How, I've always wondered, think about this. My whole lifetime, the commercials were Ford F-150, J.D. Power's #1 truck. Chevy commercial comes on, the Chevy Silverado. J.D. Power's #1 truck in its class.
Mm-hmm.
How can they both be #1 for 20 years in
Yeah.
their class? By the same entity. I mean, it's always my whole
What you
life
said.
been it. And I've always noticed those commercials go, wait a minute, how is this truck #1 20 years running? And then so is this one. Does this one have the most towing package? And wait, this one does too. This one has the best towing package. How?
Dude. Right.
Can't you just say, hey, they're both the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're both the same. Nobody won. Nobody
Nobody
won.
will. No,
Yeah.
because yeah, man. I mean, you go and you go in the grocery store and you pick up, something from 2 different companies. It says 2 different names. It says it's 2 different companies, and you like Pete's coffee and Starbucks coffee. You pick Pete's up, you pick Starbucks coffee up. You look at the 2; they're made from the same exact company.
Yep.
Now what is
Yep.
that? And it's just, and they don't say that this one's more organic than the other one. There's no difference in them. But we
Do you
got
know how
Pete's
many
coffee.
people? Do you have any idea how many people? That's why they do it. Are only influenced by brand name.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Only.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Hey,
all
my
they'll
name's
buy.
Ashley, and
Generic
I
can
used to be
sit
that
there right
person.
by it. Like you said, generic can be sitting right by brand, and they're both made same company, same ingredients, same everything, and they'll well, the name brand's got to be better. It's got to be better. They told me they got advertisements. This thing doesn't even have an advertisement. How can they be any good? They have no ads. Never heard of you. Really, I've never heard of you. You have
Right.
no ads. Why
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
I buy you when you can't even run ads? That's been what we've been sold and told.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's
That's
it.
the
Oh,
story
the
right there.
ad. Right.
If you don't have
Right.
the credibility through the ad program, you're not going to hardly make it in this market. I
No,
mean,
you're right.
you may survive, but you're not going to be us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, you almost verbatim said word for word that was in this book.
Because I'm a genius. He got it from me. Whoever he is. That we while she's finding her book. If we don't realize it by now, that the
What
programmed
did you a
world,
genius? Oh,
programmed
Jesus,
world.
the Holy Spirit works through you. Oh, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying, if we don't realize by now that the programmed world is not for us, and that we have to have our discernment, but we still have to work with it. I think so many people are thinking the camp of saints is going to be so completely separated. It's going to be a whole different entity. I don't know. I think we're going to have to work with the system to a point.
Right.
How we're going to be separate, but we're
It's how
still
we are right now.
we're still going to need the infrastructure they have. We're still going to need, things that they control completely.
I don't agree with that, but I do agree. But we will be separate. I do because we already are. We go into a store and we got joy and happiness and whatnot, and we'll say hello to the cashier and joke around and this and that. They can't. You look around you, and every person around you has got this smirk on their face, sadness in their eyes, or fear in their eyes. You see a lot of fear in people's eyes. The way they stand, the way they act. So we are separate. We, no matter what they throw at us, we still got the joy of Jesus.
Well, my big deal, like you said, when I go in somewhere or I see someone, male or female, cashier or whatever, if they're sitting there with that look on their face, I don't mind at all going, smile. What could be so wrong?
Yeah,
you look like somebody kicked your dog. Are you okay? Oh, no, I'm fine. Well, geez, you look like you lost your best friend, man.
Yeah. Jason and I do that all the time, man. We enjoy doing that kind of stuff, Or they'll bring up their job and they'll be like, well, my job and nothing works good around here. Well, ain't what they do. It's what you do, girl. Or son, whichever one it is. For sure. Look, hold on. Wait. Okay. So if you accept the existence of advertising, you accept a system designed to persuade and to dominate minds by interfering in people's thinking patterns. You also accept that the system will be used by the sorts of people who like to influence people and are good at it. No person who did not wish to dominate others would choose to use advertising or choosing it, succeed in it. So the basic nature of advertising and all technologies created to serve it will be consistent with this purpose, will encourage this behavior in society, and will tend to push social evolution in this direction. Very interesting.
That's been my whole life.
Right.
From the minute I got boom, I was being bombarded with propaganda to influence me to products, not to a better life, not to a higher consciousness, none of that, to products, not to better myself, but to get in line and and conform. All of it was strategically placed in my view to influence me to compliance.
Right. Submit to the government. Don't submit to Jesus' government. Submit to the government. Submit to man. Submit to their ways. And I mean, Americans are insatiable. Like we but you go in any other nation and how they act and how they are today and the way they live, well, they're about the same daggone way.
Think about this. Have you heard the old Joe in his speech back during the campaigns where he says, talking about kids and their development, and he says, hey, everybody knows that you play the radio and the record player while they sleep. It helps them learn. And I was like, okay, Joe, you said radio, then you went to record player. Well, radio came first, a huge source of propaganda, then the record player. And it hit me, how many early records did they have propaganda on that we didn't even know? How many times did they use those things? How many times are they tools that they gave the elite to play this for your children? And it was mind control. Just that hit me the other day, and I was like, I wonder. I bet they did. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. Especially circulate this stuff in their own.
Because if you really think about
communities.
the songs, if you really think about songs, you know, and you think about the album and the songs that are on the album, and in those songs, you're gonna have, they're talking about their clothes, the car they drive, the house they have, the wife they have, the dog they got, how they handled the financial situation. Some songs, that's all they talking about is how they handled the financial situation, whether it was good handle or bad handle.
Right.
So yes, you're right. That is interesting right there, boy. Advertisement in it, in the music itself being fed to you. And
Oh, yeah.
then every television show, series has Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving. They have all these propaganda, these selling the merchandise. They've got all the
Right.
merchandise, you know, shows. Big, heavy, thick. Good
You
ones.
talk about sitcoms and TV shows. Think about this. Every single one of those had a theme song that introed it. Da, 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 da. You always knew if you were in another room and you heard that, you knew it was a Pavlovian thing. You knew what was on. It was
I
always
rebuke the man that's spelling the
signature.
name of Jesus every time. Go ahead.
Yeah. That was huge. That was a huge industry. That one guy, what was his name, that wrote 90% of the sitcom jingles and songs? Randy, what was his name? Randy, golly, what was his name? I can't remember his name all of a sudden, but he wrote Welcome Back Kotter, Cheers. He wrote a ton of those sitcom theme songs. And every single one of them you will recognize when you hear it. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, where there's lots of other songs you might have heard, but you don't know them like those.
Yeah,
You know,
you're right.
there
You're
you go.
right.
There you go, Alan. Randy Newman.
Newman.
Yeah, that
Newman.
guy's got lots of credits for those little ditties that hooked us. They all have a cool little hook. And if you've seen it, I think we've talked about it before, the whole McDonald's documentary of 10 years worth of study and surveys and focus groups to come up with their little but up. It took 10 years to come up with that.
Right. Why? Do you know why? You know why I feel why? I feel because they were working on an MK Ultra project. They were trying to get the right one. They couldn't find the right sound. They were working
Yeah,
on people studying on them, trying to get that sound just right. And when they
they
realized they had that mind control sound, boy, they sent
admitted.
that thing off. When I was working in McDonald's, I worked the drive-through window first thing in the morning. And I was in there every morning, and I was talking to the people when they come through the drive-through. Have a blessed day. Tell them how to go. But every dude, I am not kidding you. It was the strangest thing. I got to the point where I was going to make a tally on it, because it would be like some days they would come through the drive-through. Everybody wanted ketchup packets. No other time of the day did anybody want ketchup packets. But by golly, it would be one morning,
Breakfast
everybody.
everybody. Right?
Another day it would be sausage, biscuit, egg, cheese. Nobody ever wanted to order no sausage, biscuit, egg, but all of a sudden every day it's gonna be that.
Day.
One day
Right.
it would be they wanted sausage with only cheese on it. And
Right.
and I'm not, it would be the strangest, Cokes with no ice. It'd be like that's the day. Like, and I'm like, did everybody get the memo? Did y'all get a
Right.
phone call this morning? Did you get an
What
email?
was it that
No.
influenced so many people
Right.
that way?
And
Right.
it made me start wanting to ask them, what television shows do you watch? What do you watch when you wake up in the morning? What do you watch
Is that
before you
what
go to
you
bed?
saw
You know?
somebody do on a TV show last night? You know,
And how
was
many of those TV?
something you all
Yeah.
watched? And you showed up. Yeah, I think I'll have that. Saw that
Right.
last night on TV. Yeah, I think that's what I'll have.
And it's not like they were in the line and in the front. It surprised me being in drive-through. Ain't none of these people talking to each other. They're in their cars, personal places. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still ordering the same thing. Like, it was just yes. And so there had to be something. I guarantee you they watched some of the same television shows.
Oh, sure.
The ones that would.
Sure. There was a scene in there that depicted something that influenced them that way.
No
You know,
doubt.
and I remember a long time ago when a deal came out that all the TV shows and stuff were doing product placement, you know, and how movies started doing more product placement, you know, They
What's
worked
product
out.
placement?
Well, like you watch a movie and then on the side there's a can of Coke, right, or a Pepsi. You know,
Oh,
instead of just the old generic that just says soda, you
uh-huh.
know, on it, it's
Mhm.
actual name brand products. They're sitting there
Uh-huh.
eating Lay's potato chips, whatever it
Mhm.
is. Before, I want to say the mid '80s, there wasn't much product placement at all. It was generics. Cigarettes were generics. Whatever you saw them doing or eating, it was all generics. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 everything. And they started. What was it Reagan that there was something about advertising and product placement that they signed a. I don't remember what it was, but they signed a bill that they could start doing it more because there was a ban against propaganda on in TVs and movies for 20 years. Did you remember that in the 70s where they came out and they proved that the film reels had subliminal messages in them saying drink more Coke and eat more popcorn, and sales went up 30% at the movie theaters when they added in those subliminal messages, and they were using it and people found out and the government came in and said, no, you can't do that anymore. And then I know Obama lifted the propaganda deal, but I think Reagan lifted the whole deal about product placement for influence. Because I think I want to say Back to the Future was one of the first ones to really go heavy on product placement. You know what I mean?
Product placement.
You know, Michael J. Fox ordering a Pepsi in the future cafe, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They used to not do that.
Right. So then they pointed out to everybody, by saying, oh, we got to stop this with Reagan. They pointed out to everybody that it's happening. So that's a mind control all on its own. I wonder if they put it out there to fish to see how many people they did have in control. Are people going to quit buying these things, or are they going to continue to buy even though they know that it's propaganda? How well do we have that hook?
I think it was a psyop for the government as a head fake on us. The government going, whoa, we're not going to let them do this. Okay, guys, we got you. We got you. We're not going to let them do this to you.
Right,
it's good.
right.
While the whole time they still doing it. They never stopped. They never stopped.
And the government is part of it.
Yeah, and then Obama, he comes in and lifts it. Says, oh yeah, no, you can go back to using propaganda. I think it was 2008 or 9. Had Obama lifted the ban. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Well, I just didn't understand it. Like, I wasn't in it, I wasn't in that part yet. Of study research.
Look that up where Obama lifted the ban on propaganda and advertising. I mean, it's straight up. A lot of people I know the truth community was up in arms about it. They're like, what the hell is this? And it just kind of went on. Nobody said nothing. Mainstream media just kind of went, huh, great. Now we can lie. We can lie. We can lie. Nice. Thank you, President Obama.
Yeah.
Hard to lie to the American people when we have a rule that says we can't. You take that rule away.
It says the first thing that comes up, bro. I'll have to look into this and see, because I think this is interesting. The very first thing that comes up is just a news article, and it says Obama did not sign a law allowing propaganda in the U.S. The facts, okay, big bold letters, the facts. A post circulating on Facebook with a photo of Obama falsely states he repealed a ban on government propaganda in the U.S. when he signed the National Defense Authorization Act in 2013. The amendment did not repeal the Smith-Mundt Act, but rather lifted some restrictions on the domestic of government-funded media. Okay, so I'm going to get into this. I'm going to research this a little and find out what this Smith-Mundt Act is. So that's probably what you're talking about with Reagan.
Act. Yeah, they did. From what I understand It says there just changed some provisions, and I think that's one of the provisions that they took out was propaganda.
Yeah, I guarantee you they took it out.
So
They just
that
the way they word it.
oh yeah, I didn't do that. They just
Mhm.
took out a few little key words and changed everything.
Mhm.
But
Dude,
no,
for it to pop up and say this fact in big bold letters right away, I'm like, oh no,
Right.
no, this is
you always know
false.
that's a red flag. Red flag.
Life in the pit of hell.
Right, and especially if it says Wikipedia and it has.
No,
It
it was
has-
a news article, and it was
Sure.
the very first thing. Normally, Wikipedia is the first thing that pops up, and it was the news article, very big bold, boom, right in bold.
That's the way they do us.
Hate it.
That's the way they do us.
Freaking A. I was watching something with Elon Musk. I'm trying to catch him in a bunch of his lies from pit of hell. But either way, and he's talking about freedom of speech, and he's talking about the bots, and trying to get rid of the bots and stuff in Twitter. That's why he took Twitter over, is because of all the bots, and they have no freedom of speech.
That was interesting that they don't know how many Twitter accounts are real or fake.
Yeah. Oh, you
Really?
watch him too? You watch those?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some of that. Yeah, I was like, really? You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Right. No, they know. They know. They're the ones who put them there. Flipping Elon Musk has been working with Twitter ever since it started, I'm sure. I mean, it's all lies from the pit of hell. Dude.
Elon's
Right.
gonna save us. Come on.
I was thinking the other day, that ninja's going to be the next one that tries to run for president. I guarantee you he going to be trying to run for, okay, I won't guarantee you nothing because I don't know.
I don't think he's American.
He was born here. He was born in
I think he was born in Europe, as far as I know. I can't remember. For
It
some
don't
reason,
matter.
I don't think that he is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're gonna choose who they choose.
Uh-huh.
What are we gonna do? What are you
You
gonna
gotta
do?
be an American to be a president.
Yeah.
Huh. They've got limits.
Obama wasn't.
Well, that's why I don't think that you.
Allegedly, he wasn't. But they
Well,
just
you
kind of
can
looked
look
over that
at
rule.
him.
They just kind of overlooked that rule at the time. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
No. Right.
Leave him alone. You're doing it because he's black. You're a racist. You're just a racist.
Freedom of speech. That's what we do. Right. They're taking away the freedom of speech, but they're trying to use it as now on the internet. They're fighting for freedom of speech on the internet. It's a new war.
Have you seen the deal where their disinformation little committee had some internal memos that got released, and they're talking straight up about, we got to shut down this group and this group. We need the ability to, if these groups post something, to go in and stop it before it goes out, add context to it, make sure people understand what this means, and then put it out. So if I go on and say, hey man, the government is doing X, Y, and Z to me, they want to be able to take my comment before it ever goes out and put a notation. The government does A, B, and C for you. This is disinformation. Boom. Okay, read it now. You can read it now. That's literally what they wanted to do. Stamp a government disinformation tag on it and then put it out and go, okay, look, you can read it all you want, but government, we already checked it. It's a lie. Oh, well, okay. Okay. Jeez. Yeah, we'll let you have free speech with a caveat on it, with a stamp on it, proving you're a liar. You got to love that.
What you said.
It's a great system. Yeah, the congressman was reading it out to him going, you said in the hearing, day, that this was not a working group. It was only going to be, looking at stuff and and trying to decipher good and bad, you're not going to have any hands-on. He goes, but this memo says you're going hands-on. You don't like something, a particular group, you're going to go in and you're going to change their post for them. No. He's like, the memo says it right here. Your own people. Well, no, see, that was, those people, they, it's just like, you people suck. What Alan say here?
It's Mitzi. The Smith Modernization Act of 2012, which allowed for probably by the State Department and the Broadcasting Board of Governors to be disseminated. Oh, boom! I could read that word a minute ago.
Couldn't read it.
So that was in 2012. Oh, that was the time the Higgs boson came out. There was a few things that happened in 2012.
Like the word is produced. They can produce these things for us.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
And that changes everything. They just change the wording. They do that to us. They change the wording.
Right.
They change the meaning of words. They do that to us a lot.
No, if you go into the reading of even your constitutional rights, the Constitution, you really got to like pay attention to those words the way it's written.
See, he was born in South Africa. Yeah, I knew he wasn't born in the U.S.
Really? I did not know that. Very interesting.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't American. I knew he wasn't American. I could smell it.
Comes over here and he's talking so much of the American way. He is
You
really
gotta have the yin and the yang. You gotta have the contrast. If they don't have somebody to bump up against as they move forward, then we go, wait a minute, hey, y'all can't do that. But as long as they have that little struggle going forward, look, good wins over bad. Joe got 81 million votes. Come on, man. Everybody loves him. Everybody wants him. Come on, get in line. Get in line.
Right.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Get on with Joe. Come on, man. You know the thing.
And
yeah, Joe, I know Joe, the thing. And have you seen any of those clips from Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel looks like somebody sitting there listening to a female parent and wanting to help them get their thought out, but he can't jump in yet. He's gotta let grandma talk, and then grandpa talk, and then he's gonna help him finish his thought. He framed every thought for him after he finished what he was saying. Oh, so yeah. And did you see what he told me? He over understood.
No.
He over understands the complicated situation we're in. Most people don't understand. He overstands.
Overstands.
Yeah. Jimmy overstands things.
It was when Obama used drone wars and very good. What else?
Had to have a distraction.
Always.
And that's always their thing.
But every move that they're making, I mean, we have to realize as well is whatever they're doing, the movements that they do, the structures, the way they have even the soldiers stand in their war positions, and the way they have them move their guns, and the things that they have them do is literally a ritual. It's a ritual. It's a Kabbalist Freemason ritual, and they set them up in their positions, and they have them move on certain days of the sun and moon and stars, whatever the worship of whatever star they're worshiping that day. Here they go. They send them on out. That's why Mars is why everybody's so intrigued with Mars. They're not going to Mars. They ain't having no Mars, but Mars is the false god of war. And so therefore they're going to war. And what are they going to war with? Technology on the minds and brains of the man and woman. That's what they're going to war with. Yes.
Technology and money.
Mm-hmm.
I said it 2 years ago or more. Gog and Magog are money and technology. They're
That's a
hurting us bad with money right now, and the technology. They're hurting us real bad with it.
Well, they're forcing it. I mean, really, people think I'm crazy, and they don't like to hear the words I say. But the digital currency is coming, and it's going to be for the whole world. It's going to be for everyone on Earth together. All nations together, one mind. And it's going to be a digital technology. It's digital. It's no currency, and people think I'm nuts. They don't want to hear the dollar's going to go. It is.
Not that you know of. People don't think you're nuts.
Well, some of y'all do.
Not that you know of.
Not that I know of. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I've been told I'm crazy. Oh, no, they've let me know real quick around here. What do you mean you don't call yourself an American? What do you mean digital currency is coming? The dollar's going to fade. That ain't happening. Constitution's going to stand. No, honey. Pay attention to what's going on in the background. You see what's happening. World Economic Forum. Somebody needs to pay attention and realize, get out of Babylon, my people. That means all nations. Get out of all nations, my people, and turn to me, your nation, your government, your God, not these nations. None of them, even America.
Unfortunately, we already know what's going to happen, and they're not going to do it. So,
is that unfortunate, or is it? I accept. I know they're gonna do it. It's happening, and boom, let's come out of it. Let's go grow our own food and cut our own trees and build our own houses and have our own electricity and have our own water the way the Lord made us to do, and not depend on these freaking governments. They're not our parent.
I think at this point, the ones that are doing it are going to be the ones doing it. No, but I don't think there's going to be many new people get on board. I think
You
they're
don't think?
Yeah, no, I think they're just too invested in the material world. They can't imagine not having their stuff. They can't imagine not having their things. That's who they are.
Mhm.
They've been programmed to believe that their vehicle is a reflection of who they are, their home, everything, their clothes they wear. That tells people things about them, and they want that message. They don't want to back off and have to work and struggle and, actually get your hands dirty. That's, you get food at the store. It's on the shelf. Hello.
Is anybody listening?
Anybody out there? Anybody? Hello, McFly. Well, Ash, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, sweetie.
Well, I'm glad I got to talk to you this morning. I get Tommy withdrawals.
Well, Alan told me you came on the show a few times and that you're all wound up. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to get with Ashley. She's wound.
Yeah.
I like her when she's wound. You're like a rubber ball or a golf ball when you take the cover off and you start pulling the rubber bands. It just starts winding everywhere. Let it free. Let it free.
I love y'all.
Amen, sister. Well, God knows I love you. Everybody, good discernment and good vibrations. Love you all. Later, babe.